Hi, I'm Kendall Fisher. Welcome to Oracle Customer Spotlight, the series that illuminates why familiar global brands use Oracle to successfully orchestrate amazing business objectives. In this episode, we're shining a light on Oracle Red Bull Racing, on location at the Red Bull Racing Technology Campus in Milton Keynes, United Kingdom. Red Bull Racing just had their most successful season in recent history, with 23 podium finishes and Max Verstappen winning the Drivers' Championship. You don't need to be a Formula One fan to be thrilled by the speed of the cars and the innovative technology that accelerates this industry towards perfection. Please welcome Christian Horner, Oracle Red Bull Racing's CEO and team principal, as well as Oracle Senior Vice President of Business Development EMEA, Dr. Andrew Sutherland, who will discuss how Oracle Red Bull Racing plans to maintain their incredible momentum this upcoming season.
Christian, thanks so much for joining us. Very much appreciate your time coming here.
Pleasure.
So I'm sure your mind is focused very much in the future, probably always is. But if I may, one question about the past. 2021, for you, running through your memory, what are the highlights?
Oh, crikey. So many highlights, to have won 11 Grand Prix, but ultimately come away with that Drivers' World Championship with Max after such an exciting and close-fought year. I think for Formula One, it's probably been the most competitive season in the last 40 years. But, the wins that we had along the way, the wins in Monte Carlo, in Austria, Max's home win in Zandvoort, in Holland, returning to the Netherlands, and, then finishing the year the way it went, it was such an exciting championship, and to come out on top, was most certainly the highlight.
That's got to be the highlight, isn't it? So many happy memories in there. Now, new season, new car. What can you tell us about the new vehicle?
Well, it's a complete regulation change for this year. So the governing body of Formula One have torn up the rule book, and this year we have completely new regs. So the design team have had to adapt, the car to those regulations, which is a totally different philosophy, which the fundamentals are for to promote better racing, so that the car behind can follow more closely, uninterrupted by the airflow. So that's going to be interesting, and of course, for the technical team, it's been a massive challenge because it's a very different concept of car.
The car is like a tool, isn't it? It's there to get you onto the podium. And I guess the more quickly you can learn how to use that tool and build strategies using it, the more likely you are to win. Is there competition amongst the teams about how quickly they can learn to use their new vehicles? Absolutely.
And of course, simulation is a massive part of what we do. I mean, the car has yet to run, but we've done thousands of laps in a virtual world, and how we use data, how we manage data, and all the tools like AI and ML, they're such important things as we design these incredible race cars.
And talking of Oracle, of course, we're expanding our partnership this coming year. You didn't have to, you chose to expand it with us. Why is that? And what do you expect out of the partnership in the coming season?
Well, I think what we saw out of the first year of the partnership during 2021 was that just the way that the two companies complement each other, the technology that Oracle has that we want to make better use of, and the platform that Formula One is to advertise and push Oracle's products. So in the end, it was a no-brainer. It was like some of the best decisions. It was a quick decision to step up into that title role. So from 2022 onwards, we become Oracle Red Bull Racing and make use of all the suite and all the technology that Oracle can offer us.
Now, one thing that fascinated me particularly, Christian, is the way that you're using data in real time. We call it data in motion, effectively. It's incredible the way that you're synchronizing the HQ here in Milton Keynes with the track side. And you're making real-time decisions, heart-thumping decisions in split second, using data which is microseconds before all over the globe. That is quite something in the business world. What gives you the confidence to do that?
Well, basically, data is our lifeblood. So as the sport has progressed and we're not allowed or we're restricted in the amount of people we can take to a racetrack, therefore making use of that data, making use of the control room, the mission control room that we have here, known as the operations room, is so vitally important, both from a performance point of view, from a reliability perspective, and most importantly, during a Grand Prix, from a strategy perspective, is enormously valuable to us.
Fantastic. It's amazing how many business situations that are starting to emerge where that's similar, split-second decisions on live information.
This new expanded partnership with Oracle is going to have an even greater impact on success for the extraordinary new car, navigating new regulations in both pre-race and in-race strategy. Keep watching to find out how Oracle Red Bull Racing continues to innovate with Oracle and maintain momentum with a one-of-a-kind fan experience.
Turning to the fans for a second, as a fan, we all make a lot of noise. I'm not sure how much the drivers hear in the car of that noise. Are they important?
They're hugely important. Without the fans, there is no Formula One. And so, again, through this partnership, being able to give the fans a better experience is something that's been key to us. And we're really excited about some of the plans that we have for the season ahead.
So tell me more about that, because in 2021, you launched the Red Bull Racing Paddock, and I know that you had a unique experience there. How did that go? What was the feedback, and what's the future for the fan experience?
We had a tremendous reception. Of course, and the fan base is getting younger. They want more info. They want more knowledge about the team. So through this initiative, we're going to get the fans closer. We're going to be running competitions. We're going to be doing real behind the scenes stuff that you otherwise quite simply wouldn't see. So as a fan experience, we're looking to offer something completely unique that takes us into another stratosphere.
Now, in a minute, we'll be speaking to Hannah Schmidt, whom I believe is a race strategist. What is that, and how does that help get the drivers onto the podium?
Well, it's a key role that's sitting trackside on the pit wall, utilizing all the data and information, the AI and the ML and so on, to make decisions about race strategy. And without Oracle, we couldn't make these informed decisions. So this decision that we took at the last race to pit Max under the safety car is driven by this technology, driven by Oracle, and that's a tremendous benefit and a key part of our success.
So it sounds like data is key to the fans and the fan experience, as we said a minute ago, and also obviously to the drivers and to the strategists. But if everybody's got the same data, Christian, how do you get an edge? What is it that gives you the edge?
Well, of course, it's how you interpret that data. Of course, these cars generate enormous quantities of data, but it's how you read the data, how you interpret it, how you use the data that's so important. And again, through this relationship with Oracle, we'll be making use of some key tools that enable us to manage our data better.
Oracle and Red Bull Racing had an incredibly successful 2021 season, and we are thrilled to be building upon this joint success. Beyond the F1 team, the broader organization uses Oracle technologies in a variety of ways. The Red Bull Junior team is one of the most successful in the sport, and Red Bull Advanced Technologies is undertaking the challenge of applying Oracle technologies to cultivate the next world champion drivers. Let's hear a bit more from Christian on their approach.
Developing new talent. Where's the next Max going to come from, and how are you going to develop them?
Well, it's very much going down to the grassroots. And, our youngest driver this year will be 13 years of age, still racing in karts. And so investing in youth, developing that youth, and being able to utilize tools. One of the ones that we're developing at the moment within Red Bull Advanced Technology is this being able to take video analysis in order to have it instantaneously available to play back to the drivers, to assist them in areas where they can develop, and so it's like a virtual coach. Which is tremendously beneficial to these young guys and girls that are making their way through.
For somebody who's not only running the F1 team, but also, of course, effectively running a technology business too, I wonder, do you have any words to those business leaders who are a little bit in trepidation of moving on to the cloud? Not everybody's done it yet, and some folk perhaps are a little bit concerned about making that leap. Any words of advice or confidence giving?
Well, of course, data is our lifeblood, and we've shared all those consternations and had listened to all of those arguments. But I think what we've seen, the way that Oracle have managed this whole process, taking that step from a traditional data center to putting your data into the cloud, the efficiency that it has, the speed that we're able to access that data has been phenomenal, and it's been seamless. That transition. So particularly with the new powertrains. Business, as we're designing our own engine for 2026, it's been invaluable and something that should be embraced rather than feared.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Christian, it's been a great pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time.
Thank you.
You heard it direct from Christian Horner. Moving your data to the cloud provides phenomenal efficiency and speed, and Oracle is sure to make that transition seamless. Up next, Andrew Sutherland speaks with a highly lauded race strategist and one of the heroes of racing who lives behind the scenes. Please welcome Hannah Schmitz, Principal Strategy Engineer for Oracle Red Bull Racing.
Hi, Hannah. Thanks for sitting down with us today. Can you tell us how did you get into this fantastic business of Formula One and what your specific role within it is?
I started off by studying engineering at university at Cambridge, and then when I was graduating, it was actually the time when there was a lot of freeze on headcount, a lot of companies, and it was really difficult to find a job. And Red Bull had their student placement scheme. And so I applied for that in the end and got a student placement here, even though I'd actually finished my degree. And then within 3 months, someone else had left, and I actually then got the permanent role quite quickly, which was brilliant. And I worked in vehicle dynamics at first, doing modeling and simulation work. And then after a while, I just felt that I really wanted more connection, direct connection with the racing. And a role came up in strategy. And then I made the move across to that department. And I've been there ever since, nearly 13 years now.
Many of us are very thrilled by the relationship between the drivers. There's also a strong relationship between the driver and folks like yourself and the engineers. Can you tell us a little bit about that relationship, and in particular, how information and the reliability of that information really helps build that relationship?
Sure. So obviously, both drivers have their specific race engineer and performance engineer and a control engineer on that car. And those guys have a really close relationship. The performance engineer goes through all the data with the drivers after every practice session. Also, when they're back in the factory, they'll be doing sessions in the simulator as well. So there's a lot of data sharing with those guys, and the controls engineers, every start they do, they go through that in detail. And then for strategy, so there'll be one of us at an event, so we will do the strategy for the team, because it's more of a team decision maybe than a specific driver, which is where what you were talking about, the synergy between the drivers really comes in. Because for a strategist, if you can use your drivers to help the team, not just as individuals, then that's a lot more powerful than you having to kind of treat them identically. You can use one driver to hold someone up, or you can split the cars and do a 1-stop and a 2-stop, because we're not sure which one's going to win out in the end. So I think that makes for a really powerful strategy.
Has there been a moment when the driver has insisted on going in a different direction from what the data would suggest?
So that does sometimes happen. I would say our drivers are very good at listening to you and listening to the data. But often there might be some grey areas, maybe is very close between which tyre compound you want to start the race on. So whether that's a soft or a medium. We're quite collaborative, where we'll always talk to the drivers, and Christian and everyone and the race engineers were all involved in the discussions on strategy before a race, so that everyone kind of knows what's happening. And on paper, it might look like the soft's actually a quicker tyre, let's start on it. But the driver might have a feeling that we haven't quite captured in the data, and they'll say, no, I much prefer the medium. And then at that point, we take that into consideration along with the data. So you would never say, well, we'll just go with what you think, and then come up with the best tyre together using all that information.
And I'm sure as we collect more and more data, that'll converge
exactly
more and more. So Christian Horner described data as being the lifeblood of the organisation. I wonder if you can make us feel that for real. Take us trackside for a minute and tell us how you're using what bits of data to make these real-time decisions.
Data is essential to what we do. That goes into every decision we make. So our simulations will have, before we even get to the track, we'll put in what we expect the tyres to do, what we think the overtaking will be at that track, all the paces we're expecting of our competitors and us. And then when we're at the track, we can use data to better estimate all those variables. So after the running on a Friday, we can come up with better pace estimates for us and our competitors. And we can put that into our simulations. We will know more information about what the tyres are doing, what the degradation is, what the life is, and the pace difference between those tyres. That will go in. Also, we know a bit more about overtaking. So when there are changes to the car, that might change the way how close the driver can get to another car. and so forth, and that will change the overtaking. So then we can put a better overtaking model into our simulations as well. So all of these things are changed and updated throughout the weekend, and we rerun simulations on the Friday, on the Saturday when we know the start order, and then we look at all safety cars and everything. So basically, we're constantly using the data and refining those.
You're using
models.
lots of
Exactly.
and that's very much the real-time data coming in.
Data is arguably the lifeblood of all organizations. Keep watching to learn how data, powered by Oracle, helps Red Bull Racing make critical decisions that can win or lose races.
So Formula One is constrained by regulation. I wonder if you could describe to us how you use data to optimize your performance within that regulated environment and get an edge over the competition.
Yes. So basically, with cost cap, we get regulations on curfew timings and so forth. So, for example, this year, the curfew at the track is going to start much earlier. So where before, after a Friday, I just told you all that extra data we get, we might be working through into the very early hours of the morning. We're not allowed to do that anymore. So we use then the power of the simulations, and actually all the stuff from Oracle helps us run those simulations much quicker, which means actually we can run the same number of simulations now, but in a shorter time, which gives us the results faster. And then we have the time we need to think about it and write our reports. Whereas, if we were doing what we were doing a couple of seasons ago, then we wouldn't be able to get those results in time.
Fantastic. So you can have the same quality of decision making
Exactly.
in a shorter space of time and therefore meet the regulations. It's been said that races can be won or lost on the timing of the pit stops. Is that really true?
Yes. So you could definitely lose a race with a bad strategy, and you can win one with a good strategy. So it is a very important role. Strategy is really the whole point of strategy is taking a look at the big picture of the race and working out how you can beat your competitors with what you have, what's the best thing you can do. So a lot of looking to undercut drivers, then might give you track position, help you win the race, what you're going to do in a safety car or a VSC. So we're always thinking about not just what we're going to do, but what our competitors are going to do. And then the combination of that is what helps you, to win or lose a race.
So Formula One is unique in very many ways compared with other sports. But one of the ways I think is there are so many real-time decisions taken off track, actually away from where the real competition is happening. Can you describe to me how you use data, and is the number crunching real time in making these off-track decisions?
Before the race, we will have plans for what strategy we're going to do, but actually in the race, we will still have to react to things. So that might be a safety car. Obviously, we'll have come up with a plan for safety car windows, but something else might have changed. We might be in a different position to we were expecting. So there's a lot of real-time decisions to be made, but that's all based on the kind of high-level data work that you've done beforehand. However, we do get data in the race as well. So we are running live simulations, what I talked about before with all the overtaking, paces, tyres. We're still looking at them in the race and updating those models. So you've got that data updating as well. So it's not just about experience in the race, you're still using data.
Fantastic. Very similar to many organizations. You've got this combination of what was done before offline and then real-time information coming in. So can you explain to me and all of us, please, what really is a Monte Carlo simulation? And in particular, how does Oracle technology help you run these simulations?
Monte Carlo is basically using randomness to help you solve a problem. And we have lots of different variables that go into that. And then we run billions of simulations, billions of races, with loads of different things happening, which help us pinpoint exactly where our maximum point score is. And then we kind of work from there. And Oracle have allowed us to do 25% more simulations than were able to run previously. And with what we were talking about earlier, with kind of the time we're allowed to spend doing this analysis getting shorter, that's invaluable. And it will also allow us to run more simulations, look at more things, and have an edge on our competitors.
It will indeed, and I'm sure the technology will go on performing better and better, going for more and more accurate simulations and decisions as a result. But things are changing constantly. I mean, that's a new car over there. And for example, the tyres are completely new. Does this mean you actually have to start from scratch every season?
Not start from scratch, but yeah, the game is always changing, but that's what keeps it exciting. Otherwise, you just do what you did last year. So yeah, the tyres particularly will be different this year. And that's why we've got winter testing to get data from. And then usually what we'll do is we'll come up with kind of a ratio of how we think the tyres performed relative to the previous season. And then we'll use that for the first few races before we get an idea of the trend of the tyres this year. So it's just basically, we still need all that data. It's maybe a bit more uncertainty at the beginning and trying to do as much analysis as we can with the data we have and then build that database back up.
So there's a bit of a sawtooth there at the start of every season, and then you reconverge very quickly, but you're building on it. So Hannah, there are increasing numbers of people in businesses in many industry sectors now with roles in many ways similar to yours, using large quantities of data to make vital decisions. What advice would you give to them if they're considering using cloud-based analytics to help them with their decisions?
I would say go for it, because I think the problem is often you get used to how you do things and kind of stuck in your ways. So definitely with data, we need to be moving forward and going with the modern technology, and using Oracle has been extremely powerful for us and really helped improve things in a very short space of time.
Fantastic. And I'm sure it will go on doing so. I can see from Oracle's perspective how things will develop. But how do you think from a Formula One perspective, how do you see the landscape changing in years to come?
So I guess there's been a lot of changes already since I started. There was a lot of things we used to kind of do almost on the back of an envelope or in an Excel spreadsheet, like very kind of basic calculations, which now are an integral part of software. Be a lot more machine learning. There's just a lot more we can do with technology, a lot more that we're constantly learning. Probably, in 10 years' time, you wouldn't need me because the machines will all be able to do it. So yeah, it's just developing every day. And I've already seen a lot of change just in my time here.
Do you think as a woman having representation in sport really like this in particular really matters?
Yes, definitely. I think it's really important to have a diverse team is a stronger team. So I think to have people of different genders, from different backgrounds and ethnicities, is really important. And it's something I really keen to encourage. And growing up, I didn't see a lot of women in motorsport, and those you do, you remember. So I really want to help kind of encourage the next generation and say, yes, come and do it. It's an amazing job and I absolutely love it.
So Hannah, I'm curious if you'd have any advice to share with a younger generation of female talent coming into this business today.
Sure. So my advice is to believe in yourself and to be confident, to put your ideas and your thoughts forward. Because I think it's important to be different, have different viewpoints, and not worry about too much about what other people are going to think. I think that's what I would like to tell my younger self. Don't get too concerned with that.
Fantastic. I have to say it's very inspiring, Hannah, listening to you speak. Who inspired you?
So what inspires me is so many different people, I guess. Recently, being a woman returning to work after having children, I really have looked to other women in sport who maybe have gone through a similar thing. And Alison Felix, the US sprinter, is someone that's been really passionate about that and showing how you can still go back and be at your best and your peak. And so for me, she's been an inspiration.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm sure, Hannah, you've inspired many, many people by joining us today. Thank you very much indeed, and all best wishes for the future season.
Thank you.
Through our close partnership and use of Oracle technologies, Oracle Red Bull Racing has created the most personalized fan experience in Formula One, enabled billions of pre-race and in-race strategy simulations, and is leveraging machine learning and AI to develop young drivers into future champions. We at Oracle are incredibly thrilled to facilitate continued success on and off the track for this World Championship Formula One racing team. Thank you for joining our spotlight on the Oracle Red Bull Racing organization. It's been an enlightening conversation, and we want to keep it going. To follow up and learn more, visit our Customer Spotlight page, and we can help you get connected to the right team. And as always, be on the lookout for our next episode of the Oracle Customer Spotlight series. You never know which company we'll shine a light on next.